The city of Charlottesville, Virginia, has taken down the statues of Confederate generals Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson. Hundreds of people cheered as crews hoisted the monuments away on a flatbed truck Saturday morning. The Charlottesville City Council voted unanimously this afternoon to also remove the city's Lewis, Clark, and Sacagawea statue. The Robert E. Lee Monument, you may remember, became a rallying cry for white supremacists and other racist groups after civil rights advocates demanded it come down. It became the center of the Unite the Right rally back in 2017, where a woman was killed and dozens more were injured when a man deliberately drove his car into a crowd of counter-protesters. For more, I want to bring in activist Zyahna Bryant. She started the petition to remove Charlottesville's Robert E. Lee statue when she was a high school student. Zyahna, you have fought a long time for this. How are you feeling in this moment?
Today, I'm feeling overwhelmed with pride and joy. As a Black woman, I think that there are so many stories of Black women doing amazing work to shift narratives and create change in their communities. So I'm honored to be on the forefront of this movement in Charlottesville and to stand alongside powerful Black women who have been leading this charge all over the country.
Zyahna, tell our viewers what message you felt whenever you would see those statues and what message you feel seeing these statues removed right now.
So when I would see the statues growing up, I would think about slavery, bondage, and then thinking about the connections to this place where the University of Virginia stands, and there's a history of eugenics and enslavement. And so I think that these statues have for a very long time reflected our community. It's been segregated, it's been separated, and Black people have not felt welcome in certain spaces. And so now what I feel is that we have the opportunity as a city and as a Commonwealth to kind of reconsider and refocus on those spaces and to just think about how we can make them more welcoming for more people. So seeing it today, just a pedestal, no Confederate general standing on it, I was feeling hopeful for the future. And I think that, this is only a first step. It's a monumental first step, but it is only a first step. I think that the deeper systemic and institutional change has to come in conjunction with taking down statues.
Zyahna, I know you've heard this argument before. I'm hoping that you could go ahead and tell critics who feel like removing the statue is whitewashing history and a section of our history that we should be engaging with. And by removing it, we're acting as though it didn't happen or we're trying to erase a section of our history. What do you say to those folks?
I would say actually erecting these monuments is whitewashing our history. At the time of emancipation, Charlottesville and the surrounding area was majority Black. And you don't see that narrative by having Confederate monuments standing in the center of parks, towering over whole communities. What you see is a romanticized version of the South. You see memorabilia that makes people feel good about the Civil War, but it doesn't tell the story of the South losing. It doesn't tell the story of the Confederacy falling. And so I think that we cannot erase history. We can't edit it. In fact, history already happened. So people can Google, people can use textbooks. There are many other resources. There are whole museums that teach people about those legacies and about the history of what happened here. But what I think we're doing with removing these statues is we're no longer offering a platform for white supremacy. And I think that by deplatforming and decentering those harmful narratives that perpetuate violence and that perpetuate oppression is one of the most powerful things that we can do.
Zyahna, there are more Confederate monuments that are anticipated to come down. Obviously, a lot of work has to be done in our country to deal with our nation's past problems and continuing problems. But how far does this particular action go to heal these wounds? And what more do you think needs to be done?
Right. So I think all of the Confederate monuments need to come down all over. And I'm not necessarily interested in putting up new monuments of Black people to equal it out. I'm interested in making sure that the deeper systems that even allowed those statues to go up in the first place are dismantled or or changed and reshifted. I think that there needs to be a focus on affordable housing, education, policing. I mean, those are the things that keep our communities the way that they are, right? And so I think that by addressing those deeper systems, then you're able to match the politics with the physical changes that we're making to the landscape and the infrastructure of these places.
Zyahna Bryant, thank you so much for joining us.